Hello YouTube, it's Vdeogamer, and this is the How to Draw Video Game Characters tutorial, and today I'm going to be drawing Kirby and Metaknight, both in the same drawing. Let's get right to your supplies list. First you're going to need a pencil with an eraser, and then you're going to need some sort of paper to draw on. I use sketchbook paper, but any type of paper will work. Then you're going to need some Sharpie markers. I have a fine point Sharpie marker and a normal Sharpie marker, but you can just use the regular Sharpie. And then you're also going to need colored pencils if you wish to color your drawing. So, without further ado, let the drawing begin. Okay, so starting off Metaknight, I decided to start with the visor of his helmet. And then from there draw on his eyes and the outline of the actual helmet itself. And then from there I decided to go on to the rest of the body because I felt that the helmet was the thing that kept the entire drawing in proportion. So on the edges of the helmet you've got these little detail lines here, and then just go around and draw the rest of the body like such. From there you want to outline where you want the arms to be on either side. And you kind of want to start thinking about the feet. They're just like Kirby's feet except for the color, which we will do later. On the arms, add in his shoulder plates that he uses armor, and then draw his actual arm and his hand, because his arms aren't nubs like Kirby's. And whenever you're drawing, make sure you always start out with light sketch lines. That way you can erase your mistake and it won't mess up your paper. Continue working on the detail by adding on the cape itself at the top and to the side of his body. And then start trying to get your final form arranged, that way you can darken the final outline. In Metaknight's left hand, I'm going to place his really awesome looking sword. It's got a lot more detail than Kirby's, but it's drawn in pretty much the same fashion. First you want to draw the handle up to the hilt, and then from there you want to draw the blade coming down from the center of the hilt, like such. And for the beginning of it I just did a simple sketch, but it's got a lot more jaggedness to it, so add that in. You can tell what I mean if you have a source drawing. Then behind Metaknight, just to make him look even more awesome than he already is, I decided to put in some of his bat wings, I guess. I don't know why he has them, but they just look cool. Then on his cape, I'm just going to add some more dimension to it slightly with the wrinkles. And on the center of the hilt of Metaknight's sword you have this little jewel, which is going to be colored red later. Add some dimension to the hilt itself, and then begin outlining the entirety of Metaknight with your pencil in preparation for your final outline. On the detail of the shoulder plates, you want to make sure you just line off the edge of it, and that basically wraps up the shoulder plates. Finish up the outline of Metaknight and you'll be ready to outline it with the Sharpie for the final outline. Just beneath Metaknight's left shoulder plate is a little sword case for his sword. Then continue on with the outline. Begin erasing all your sketch lines, and you're ready to start off your Sharpie outline. Now whenever you're doing your final outline with the Sharpie, make sure you do it very carefully because you're not going to have the chance to erase this if you mess up. So on this outline, just be very careful. Then once again you want to go back and erase all your sketch lines, getting it ready for the coloring process. Take your thick Sharpie after you've outlined it and go in and color the black around Meta Knight's eyes in his visor, and that really brings out his actual facial features. Now you're ready to begin coloring Meta Knight. Once again, just start off with all your lightest shades of the colors first, which includes your yellows, your light greens, your light blues, and just make sure you're going over it really lightly but evenly at the same time. That way you get a nice color throughout the entire thing. And then after you've gotten on the light shade of color, we're going to go back and we're going to start shading it with a light shade and a darker shade of that same color. On Meta Knight's body, on the armor, you've got a couple different ways to shade it, but it just depends on what kind of source picture you pick. I got my source picture from Google Images just by going to Google Images and searching Meta Knight, and I got a pretty good picture. So keep on going on with the shading, and I decided to have my light source to the right of the picture. That means all the shades are going to be towards the left side of Meta Knight's body. Then on the entire body, just shade it all and finish up the color. On Meta Knight's sword, what you basically want to do is take the same oranges and yellows that you used on Kirby's sword and do the exact same detailing on that sword, except a little bit different. Based upon your sword's picture, you'll know what I mean. But Meta Knight's sword looks a little different from Kirby's. Finish up the hilt and the jewel inside the hilt. And there is your finished picture of Meta Knight.